Good afternoon, everyone. Larry Levinson here with Alani's Marketing and LarkSpur Data. Welcome to the fourth session out of our 6 sessions of the Lead Generation Bootcamp. Today, we're going to dive into social media. And if you would, put all your questions in the chat pane, and I'll answer them as I see them here as we go through this. So, social media, one of my most exciting things to talk about. I love social media, particularly LinkedIn, so this is perfect. By now, you probably have your top 10 questions written down. You've developed some content around one of those in the form of a checklist or a little ebook or whatever, and have a landing page for that item, a call to action, and maybe even some emails that could follow that item. So today we're going to look at how to expand your audience beyond what your email reach is using social media. And the first thing to notice is that advisors all are social. And I love this survey from 2016 because it actually introduces a new term called a social advisor. And in reading through this survey, I found that social advisors are advisors who are actually making money on social media. So they're not making money directly on social media, obviously, but that's driving more traffic for them, and they're converting that traffic into new leads, converting those leads into new clients, and making money from social media. So this is something that even 2 years ago was definitely well in use, and they coined this term social advisor. So I thought that was kind of cool. So the thing that interested me particularly about this slide is that 85% of advisors are already using social media for business, and that was as of 2 years ago. 80% of social advisors gain new clients, and the median asset gain attributed to social media use was almost $2 million. So not bad, worth doing. The other thing I wanted to look at before we even got into the nubbins of how you do this is what social media platforms are financial advisors using. And it's pretty obvious that LinkedIn is the preferred platform, with Facebook running a distant second and Twitter being a very distant third. So today we're going to talk about LinkedIn and Facebook. We're not going to talk about Twitter unless you have specific questions about Twitter, and I'd be happy to answer those towards the end of the session. So I know when we talk about social media, one of the first things that comes up is, what about compliance? What about all these issues I got to overcome? In fact, I know that financial services has inherent challenges in using social media. However, the benefits of client acquisition, branding, customer service, and thought leadership are there for the taking. So I really want to dig into what are these challenges and how can you overcome them. And the first one that I've come up with is compliance and regulation. And to overcome this challenge, you need to educate yourself on your company's rules and guides for using social media, to build a library of compliance-approved images and updates for major market events. If you don't have that already, maybe your company provides that already. And if in doubt, of course, check it out first. Another issue I saw that you need to overcome is product visualization. And this one may not be quite as obvious, but because we can't show pictures of people with money or money-related things, think about lifestyle aspirations. All of your clients are your clients because they have certain lifestyle aspirations. So think about those and find images that reflect that. So for example, here's a Facebook post from wealthmanagement.com, and the picture actually has nothing to do with what the text is about. However, it's lifestyle. Here's either an Olympic athlete or someone that wants to be or wants to look like an Olympic athlete, I'm not sure, but whatever. It's a picture that catches your eye, and then you read the text behind it. Product visualization. So how do you visualize your product? Look around lifestyle, and you'll find lots of pictures. Happy seniors, happy millennials, sports related, all kinds of things. Speed. What do I mean by speed? Well, your business, unlike my business in marketing, is a speed-based business. Everything's fast, 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 fast. And that's a problem when you want to do any planning or get some communications out. Everything's happening so fast. So one of the things you're going to want to do, I suggest, is to set up an RSS feed for yourself from a source for your Twitter, such as Bloomberg Business, so that you can follow what's happening very quickly, very easily. Doesn't mean you're going to necessarily send that all out to Facebook and LinkedIn, but at least you can follow through social media exactly what's happening as it's happening. And then share some of those financial updates on Facebook. If you're using, depending on your browser, I guess, but depending on your browser, you can use a plugin that with a couple of clicks, you can send a post to Facebook. Very simple, very easy. And then plan ahead with financial calendars. You know certain things happen at certain times of the year or certain times of the month. Plan ahead. Be ready to post those things to Facebook. Be ready to send it out to your clients, whatever it is that you're planning for. Speed is really, you can overcome speed by being prepared with these kinds of things. Contests. Now I bet everybody's going to get excited about this. So yes, financial advisors can do contests. However, make sure your legal team draws up and approves your terms and conditions. I'm thinking contests on Facebook, by the way, not LinkedIn. Always use Facebook-approved apps for contests or polls. And I'll give you the name of one that I like afterwards. Be careful about announcing full winner names and learn the trending hashtags for the financial world. Those things will help you do a contest that'll stay within compliance and yet will drive a lot of traffic to your website, to your landing page. Bad PR. Bad PR is kind of a nightmare for everybody who touches social media. But for those managing financial services, it can be especially tricky. Why? Because you know that 72% of people who complain on Twitter expect a response in an hour. Yet the wrong response could land your brand in hot water. So if you have a few unhappy clients, your entire morning could be spent researching their individual cases, formulating a response with your legal team, and responding to the client. So we want to see if we can short circuit that. So to overcome bad PR, never post client details, account numbers, or confidential information publicly. Pretty obvious. Always consult your legal team before responding to a complaint online. Also obvious. Here's one that may not be quite as obvious. Acknowledge the client in a non-committal way, saying something like, "Thanks for tweeting us. Please allow us some time to investigate your case and send you a direct message." So that way you can take your messaging off of social media, talk to them directly, and yet they know that they're being responded to promptly, and everybody else can see they're being responded to promptly also. So let's get ready to use social media. First thing you want to do is define your perfect client. Who is that perfect client? And let me give you a clue. If you're early in your career or just getting started, your perfect client is not everyone. That is not the right answer. I don't know the right answer. You know the right answer. Look at the clients that you have, and maybe you want to sort them out into groups. Look at the clients that are most profitable for you. Maybe that's the group kind of client you want to go after. Or maybe you're well established, but you've kind of reached a cap on what you can do with these clients, and you're ready to move up to some wealthier clients. So define your perfect client. What does she look like? What does he look like? What kind of family structure do they have? Are kids in college? Are kids thinking about college? Are there grandkids? Are we talking retirement? Are we talking end-of-life planning? What are the various issues that your perfect client has? Define that client. And the more you write this down, the clearer it'll be for you. Target that perfect client in your geographic area. So you don't need to reach, if you're in Boise, Idaho, you don't need to reach people in New York City. You want to target all of your focus on the Boise, Idaho area, your geographic area, and what are their interests and concerns. So for example, let's say that right now you're a financial advisor in Pomona, California. And I picked Pomona because 2 towns over, there's a wildfire that's been burning for 3 weeks. Houses are burning down. People are losing their homes. Probably not a great time to talk to them about financial planning. So you really want to look in your geographic area. What are the interests of people? What are their concerns? What keeps them up at night? And respond to that. Again, that's to your perfect client. And then you want to attract these perfect clients quickly and keep them engaged. So once you've got them, once you know their names and their email address, then you want to keep them engaged with some email or some social media so that they keep coming back to you, so that they keep learning more about your expertise and keep respecting you more and more as you build a relationship together. People always ask me what social media channels to use. And I think given the statistics we saw a few minutes ago, it's obvious that in your business, LinkedIn and Facebook are the king and queen of the ball, and everybody else a distant second. However, use only the social platforms that your perfect client uses. So again, let's say that you're upscaling and you're going after clients that are much wealthier than the group you've been working with. Are they on Facebook? Maybe, maybe not. Find out. Maybe they're only reachable on LinkedIn. Or maybe they're better reached on Facebook. Or maybe somewhere else, but I kind of doubt it. I don't think your clients are going to be heavy on Pinterest. I don't think that's where they expect to find you, for example. But use the social platforms that your perfect client uses. Don't use all the platforms. Don't try to do everything. If you read an article that says, be here, be there, be on this one, be on that one, ignore that. If your clients aren't there, there's absolutely no purpose in being there. So let's take a look at Facebook and some tactics you can use there. And I printed all this out, each in a sentence, so that when you get the slide deck, you can go back and review it. It'll be really clear. It's not just something that I said off the cuff as we were flying through slides. So first thing, Facebook. Ensure your profile and the About tab are clear and are linked to your website or landing page. This page should really demonstrate your credibility and your expert content. So this is their introduction to you on Facebook. Make it really good. It's worth spending a Saturday morning upgrading your Facebook profile. Invest in a professional photo of you. You're a professional. If you're working with someone with $1 million investable and up, they're a professional. They want to see a photo of you that looks like you serve their kind of people. Run a contest that encourages a like. Lots of ways to do this. I'll give you some links at the end of the session, as always, and you can Google it, how to get more likes, and you'll find lots and lots and lots of ideas on how to do this. But run a contest that encourages a like. If they've got a like, then you've got a way of reaching them and communicating with them. Ask open questions with a lifestyle photo in your Facebook update. So again, the lifestyle photo idea, and then asking open questions. So in case anybody doesn't know what an open question is, a closed question is one that you can answer with yes or no. Did you do the laundry today? That's a closed question. Do you have an investment advisor? That's a closed question. An open question would be, where do you think the market is going? An open question would be, how do you choose the best college for your kids? Those are open questions. Open questions almost demand a conversation. More Facebook tactics. Update your Facebook page several times a day. Vary the type of content to see what resonates with your perfect client. So again, if you have a plugin for your browser that lets you click and update, that's perfect. You can update with a market report. You can update with information you just got off of Twitter that's still hot. All those kinds of things are great in addition to whatever regular posting you do. So update that Facebook page, I would say 2 to 4 times a day. And use visual content. So I'm going to give you a great example in a minute. You may not want to do what I'm about to show you in those quick updates while you're working. But when you have time to schedule some updates for the week, which I'll talk about, you might want to do something like this. I'm going to show you something that I made in about a minute on Quozio. And it looks like this. That background, I put that background there. I chose my font, my colors, and wrote in my content. And there's my famous quote, made in Quozio, which I copied and pasted here. It could equally well have gone into Facebook. Very easy tool to use. It's a free tool. There's some other things out there. I like this one the best because it's just darn easy. You can't get lost. There's 3 steps to it. That's it. So Quozio, great tool if you want to get a quote, throw it up there, or just take a market statistic and add it over an interesting background and put it up there. That, again, gets you more visual appeal. Provide a prominent icon on your website or blog that links to Facebook. So if you have access to a website or blog, great thing to do. If you're on a landing page, not so great. On a landing page, what you'd want to do is instead of providing a link to your Facebook, you'd want to have a Facebook icon that was a share on Facebook icon. So they could share your landing page out with their friends. That's not the place to say, hey, come look at my Facebook page. Okay, include your Facebook links in every offer of ebooks and etc. Pretty obvious. Create a small group on Facebook dedicated to sharing each member's new article on their own specific day. This is something I discovered a lot of financial advisors are doing, and it's very successful. So let's say that you team up with a CEO of a local company, the president of the local Rotary Club, the development director or membership director of the Chamber of Commerce, and a store owner on Main Street, a successful store owner. And that you 5 agree, I think I said 5 there, you 5 agree that you're going to share each other's Facebook posts back and forth. So what does that do? Well, that exposes your Facebook posts to 4 other people's audiences. And those 4 other people are pretty well placed in social media, or should be, and have an audience. And it's an audience that may or may not, depending on how you pick these people, be your perfect client. So give some thought as to how you pick these people to work with. But this is a really, really successful way to expand your reach very, very quickly. And sharing their article each day, that's a click. You just go click, and that's done. So that's easy. Capture emails by setting up a Facebook contest. Here's an app that I recommend for that. It's called Heyo. You can get it right through Facebook. It's really intuitive. Financial advisors seem to love it from the research I did. And it has plenty of room for terms and conditions right in the app so that those get displayed appropriately during the contest. What's your goal? Well, if you have 250 to 500 Facebook friends, that would be awesome. Now, again, I'm not talking about your grandma, and I'm not talking about your grandchild. I'm talking about business Facebook friends. They don't all have to be your perfect client, but they need to be able to reach your perfect clients. So those are the kind of Facebook friends you want. All the other friends, I don't count them. They don't count. I'll give you an example. On LinkedIn, I know we haven't talked about LinkedIn yet, but on LinkedIn, I have somewhere in the neighborhood of 1,400 people that follow me. However, a lot of those were from when I was just getting started with LinkedIn. Wasn't clear that I shouldn't say yes to everybody who invites me to join them. And so I've got college students looking for jobs, and I've got people from Abu Dhabi, and I've got people from Czechoslovakia. It's like, what's with all this? This makes no sense because they were never my target market. So time to clean out my LinkedIn, time to clean out your Facebook maybe. But you want friends, of course you want your family on there because you're going to do some family stuff. But you want people who are friends in your business, people who can help you reach other people. If you have 250 to 500 people total, and most of those are business people, awesome. LinkedIn. Okay, so LinkedIn's a whole different ball of wax. And while Facebook, people are pretty familiar with it, LinkedIn is somewhat more difficult to navigate. So first of all, typically your firm is going to prohibit using recommendations and skills and endorsements. So you can just hide those sections on your profile. Don't even have them there. Then it won't be a problem for anybody. Also, it's very likely that your firm has some guidelines for how to use LinkedIn. So get those guidelines and use them, whether it's pre-approved content or a way to get posts approved or whatever. Get those guidelines before you get started here. Then you want to build your network. So how do you do that? You reach out to people you know and invite them to become a connection on LinkedIn. All right. Do not click that little button that says connect, because that will send a canned invite that says something like, Larry Levinson wants to connect with you on LinkedIn. That's really poor. You're reaching out, let's reverse it, you're reaching out to me. You're reaching out to me as a business person who either is your perfect client or has reached your perfect client. You want to say something more than Susie Smith wants you to join her on LinkedIn. So do not click that connect button. Instead, click to send them an email and write a paragraph about you, about why you're writing, and something you have in common. So it could be as simple as, hey Sue, Larry here at Digital Marketing Inc. Did you see the ball game last weekend? That was awesome when our team won. Hope to see you more on LinkedIn. Larry. It can be that simple. Does not have to be a big deal. Do not come off salesy. Be personable. And if you can do a little research on that person on LinkedIn before you send the message, find out what they're interested in and comment on that. Hey, I saw on your LinkedIn profile you love to go camping and you just came back from Maine. I went to Maine too. Man, the lobster was fabulous. Really simple. Again, for LinkedIn users, 250 connections gets you in the door. 500, excellent. So, on LinkedIn, listen and learn. If someone has a life event like a birth or a graduation, a move, a promotion, a retirement, consider reaching out by phone to offer congratulations and catch up. This is a winner. A lot of people default to, oh, I'll just say, have a happy birthday in my LinkedIn, and then it'll go to you as an email, and you'll know that I'm thinking of you. Okay, that's fine, but that's not the kind of person that you are as a successful financial planner. You're way more personable than that. So pick up the phone and call them and tell them how excited you are that they're retiring. Isn't that great? Lets them know that you care, that you're paying attention, that you have an eye on them. It's all good. And that you're timely. Engage with useful content. Your firm may have a whole library of content that's already approved on social media. So share that content, but also share content that matches your personal brand, that demonstrates your specific expertise and is of interest to your clients and followers. Again, if it's not interesting to your clients, don't bother sharing it. We're interested in your perfect clients, not anybody else. And I shouldn't have to say this, but I do. Be authentic. Personalize your messages. Use your own voice. Share additional articles that get response the first time. Come back and share something more on that topic. You can also save a lot of time by setting up some alerts on Google. If you don't know what I'm talking about, just Google for Google Alerts, and it'll tell you. It's very simple. Set up alerts on Google for topics of interest. And then Google will send you an email as frequently as you indicate when you set up that alert. And you can choose to either take that alert, it's like an article, like the alert comes that says, the New York Times just published an article on blah, 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 blah. Here's a teaser on the article. Click to go read. So you may want to take that part that's the blah, 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 and the title of the article and send that out on Facebook. Or throw that into LinkedIn, or both. Again, if you have to plug in your browser, very simple and quick to do. Doesn't take any time. So Google Alerts are a great tool. They've been around a long time, but not a lot of people are aware of them. Show your personal side. I love this. So if you're a coach for a softball team, throw a picture of you and part of your team up there. Or if your son's playing Little League and it looks like I'm there coaching my son or something, yeah, throw that picture up there. Not all the time, but you want to include those kinds of pictures that reflect your personal lifestyle, your personal brand, your personal way of doing things. Look, here's a dad, presumably a dad, we'll pretend he's a dad, who's engaged with something about baseball with presumably his son. And it's an eye-catching photo, so I read the text above it or below it, and I've learned something new about you. You know something about baseball. Maybe we have that in common. All right, so a couple questions. Am I referring to a Facebook business page or a traditional Facebook individual page? My preference would be on the business page, but you might want to do an individual page too. It depends really on who your perfect client is. If you're aiming, how do I want to say this? If you're not aiming for the super wealthy, then I think it's possible, again, depends on your client. It's possible that a personal page would do. If you're going upscale, I'd get a business page on Facebook. They work similarly, but not quite the same. So if you have more questions about that, type in the chat pane and I will wax on about it, but I think that answers your question. So let me go on and talk about social proof. This is something that sometimes gets confused with social media, and I want to separate the two. So social proof, otherwise known as a testimonial, comes about as a psychological and social phenomenon where people assume the actions of others in an attempt to reflect the correct behavior in a given situation. This behavior is driven by the assumption that surrounding people possess more knowledge about the situation. Okay, here's a great example of social proof, and I'm sure you've all had something like this. I was in a Harbor Freight store recently, and I was buying some webbing to tie stuff down in a pickup truck that I was borrowing. And they had 7 different kinds of webbing to do this. And I had no clue what I was looking at. It all looked like webbing to me. So I look around, there's no one there to help me, except down this aisle come 2 burly guys in greasy jeans talking to each other. And it looked to me like these guys probably knew their way around cars because they were covered in grease. So I said, hey, do you know anything about how to tie stuff down in a pickup? And of course they laughed and said, yeah, you want the orange thing. That was all I needed. So again, social proof, people assume the actions of others. I assumed they knew more than I did about webbing. And so I acted on their knowledge. So we can use this phenomenon to our advantage. Here's what not to do. Lawlytics, which is a company that makes websites for small law firms, posts on their website these 3 testimonials, and you can click the green button and get lots more testimonials, more than you ever wanted. Can't do that in this industry. But there are ways to use social proof that are really effective. First, be a helpful know-it-all. All right, so let me talk about being a know-it-all. You are a know-it-all. By virtue of having the job you have, you are a know-it-all compared to me. I don't know much of anything about your job. I don't know a lot about investing. I do know a little bit about retirement planning, but you know way more about it than I do. So you are an expert. Now it's just a matter of communicating that, establishing yourself as an expert. Every time you speak or write about financial planning, you borrow the credibility of the organization where you're speaking or writing. Let me give you an example. If you publish at Forbes.com, which by the way is open to unsolicited posts, if you publish in Forbes, people will assume that Forbes really likes you and your organization, and you'll look much more trustworthy for that, much more experienced, much more established, much more expert. However, if you publish in the Huffington Post, you wouldn't get that same buzz because that's not a place to build your expertise or showcase your expertise. So look for places you can showcase your expertise. If your local paper allows guest content, you want to be providing some online. I'm talking about online content. You want to be providing some. And at the bottom of that article that you provide, link them to the landing page, link them to your website, link them somewhere so they can come get more information. So a couple ideas, you could do interviews on podcasts. People who run podcasts are always looking for contributors. You don't have to plan it out. Usually they'll just interview you. Sometimes they'll give you questions ahead of time. You could write for blogs and websites. That takes a little time, may or may not fit for you. You could teach a class or workshop. I love this. I love this. When I first started the marketing agency, having an agency was new to me. Marketing wasn't new, but having an agency was new. And I wanted to establish my expertise. So I called up the community college and I said, hey, I'd like to offer a semester-long train-the-trainer course on marketing to take a handful of your teachers, professors, and train them to include marketing, internet marketing particularly, as part of their course in business. And after a few phone calls and a little conversation, we got the course put together. There were 6 teachers that dwindled to 4 teachers. We went for, I forget how many weeks. It was a lot of weeks. I don't know if it was a whole semester or not. I don't remember. Anyway, we went for quite a while, covered a lot of material in a lot of depth, give them a lot of hands-on, and they had to come back with their homework done each week and all of that. And at the end, they all said that was wonderful. And as far as I could tell, in checking back with the college, they never used that information at all. However, I checked with the college and I said, hey, I'm a visiting professor here. Is that right? They said, yes. I said, okay, I can use that title out in the community? Yes, go ahead. We'd like that. Said, okay, great. Guess what? I'm a visiting professor at a college, so I must know marketing. So I love that teaching a class thing. A workshop down at the community center or a workshop for the Chamber of Commerce doesn't do quite the same thing. Useful if your target audience is there, but not quite the same as teaching a class at college level. Partner with other experts, influencers, and business owners. We already discussed that. This is kind of funny. Be a good person. Oh, I want to be a good person. So what does that mean? Well, in business, it means consistently show up, consistently follow through, and establish trust in other areas of your life and career. So if you're a committed and hardworking soccer coach, and you show up every week for your team, and you've got pictures of you taking the team out for ice cream, and etc., potential clients are going to assume you're going to be that professional with them. So some straight up tips on this. Keep your LinkedIn profile updated. Volunteer in your community. Regularly attend, oh, it says attended, but regularly attend and support local business events. Act if your perfect client might be there. Don't just go to every local business event. Probably Chamber of Commerce meet and greets when a new business open, probably, not necessarily always, but probably is not your event. Actively participate in professional networks or online groups, including LinkedIn groups, and earn industry designations and awards. And when you get those designations, recognitions, or awards, put it on LinkedIn. Be a light. That's kind of a weird thing to say. But, you know, as a person who is not a financial planner, I'm not a financial advisor, I'm not in the financial industry, it's all unknown to me. I mean, it's a mystery how you guys do what you do. You know, you come back with these plans and these spreadsheets and these graphs and charts, and it's all very mysterious to me. And I need you to shed some light on that. I need you to use that information to help me feel at ease and comfortable with your expertise, with your professionalism. So that's what I mean by be a light. Give your clients all the information they need to make informed decisions. Let your personality come through. Blog about your process and the type of client experience you create. Package your services and provide detail of everything it includes. Openly share your fees. Openly disclose any outside manager costs. So this is all about your expertise and your character coming through. Build trustworthiness. Build your expertise. So I've got lots of bullets this time for hot tips. I'm going to start at the top and work my way down and then to the left. So LinkedIn. LinkedIn has started restricting some search based on the level of account you have. So if you have a free account, there's certain people that you can't search for, certain ways you can't search. However, this is one of my most favorite tricks. If you go to Google and enter site:linkedin.com and then my name in quotes, because you want both parts, not just the Larry, not just the Levinson. You want the Larry Levinson. You'll find me. If you go to site:linkedin.com, put my name in quotes, and after that, put a +, marketing, you'll get all the Larry Levinsons that are into marketing. Let me give you another example. If you go to site:linkedin.com, no quotes here, site:linkedin.com, put in CEO, and put in the name of your city, you'll get a list of CEOs that are on LinkedIn in your city. Very cool, huh? Now I'm going to extrapolate that and take it one step further. Let's say you have a website that you go to a lot. Let's say it's the Washington Post, and you go there a lot. And you saw an article that in the Washington Post some months ago, and you want to find it again. And the Washington Post's search feature, by the way, is fairly useless. So you can go to Google and you enter site:washingtonpost.com. And after that, without parentheses, without quotations, because you probably don't remember the exact title of the article. So without quotation marks, put what you remember of the name of the article. And Google will pull up a list of articles that match the name you put there, but only from the Washington Post website. So this works from any website. This site: thing is not unique to LinkedIn. It works on your website. It works on my website. It works everywhere. Lots of ways to use it. Okay, form mutually beneficial partnerships with other influences in your market. We talked about that. Pre-schedule all your posts for a week. Great time saver here. Use a tool like Hootsuite. I'm not a Hootsuite affiliate. I will share more about it with you at the very end here. But Hootsuite is one of a handful of really awesome social media tools that's not expensive. It's like 20 bucks a month. And you can pre-schedule all your posts for a week. And then as things come up, because you've set Google Alerts, you can just throw those in quickly on the fly. But on a day that you're too busy to do that, you're still posting 2 or 3 times a day because you've set it all up inside of Hootsuite. And a couple financial advisors that I do know here in town spend their Sunday morning or Saturday morning, I can't remember, doing just that. They schedule all their posts for the next week, then they're done, they can relax, enjoy the weekend, and on Monday, boom, stuff starts hitting their social media. Listen, this is something I find that people don't do enough of on social media. Listen again on social media for personal events and for industry news. You don't have to share it all. You don't have to respond to it all. But inside Hootsuite or whatever tool you're using, set up a place where you can listen to certain hashtags, certain keywords, certain phrases, certain types of businesses, and watch that stream off and on. And you'll catch all kinds of interesting things there. And you can always go back and refine the stream if you're getting a lot of noise and not a lot of signal, as it were. Again, at the top left, follow industry leaders in social media. Always a good thing to do. Repost some of their posts. That's a great way to get known by industry leaders. It's also a great way to share expertise with your audience. Repost some of their posts. And industry leaders will watch that. And if you've been reposting their posts, not every one of them, but let's just take Twitter for a minute. If you've been reposting someone's Twitter posts over time, let's say for 6 or 8 months, you've been occasionally posting maybe once a week, maybe twice on some weeks, posting something that they shared there with your audience. Then after 6 or 8 months, they'll know that you're out there. And you could send them a message and say, hey, I've been reposting your posts for 6 or 8 months. I think you're awesome. Could we get together for coffee? Could I take 15 minutes of your time for a phone call? I'd like to learn more about XYZ. And you'd be surprised the response you get. I've done this. It is amazing who you can get on the phone when you use that technique. Publish articles on LinkedIn. This one's really, really, really worthwhile. LinkedIn has its own built-in publishing platform. And you can publish full-length articles there. It's worth doing. They get a wide audience. And you can then say, as published on LinkedIn, in part of your bio, and you can use it on LinkedIn in your skills. You can use it on Facebook. You can show that same article and say, as published on LinkedIn. You can give that article away to your Chamber of Commerce for use on their blog, if that's an effective tool for you, and make sure you say, as seen on LinkedIn. So, oh, you're famous. You must be writing on LinkedIn. Likewise, publish articles on other platforms. So those are my hot tips for the day here. Questions? What questions do we have? Give you a moment to respond. Okay. So let's carry on. Homework. What can you do this week to expand your social media activity? Consider the following items. Are you on the platforms that your perfect client uses? Are you posting frequently enough? That's usually the biggest issue. Do some of your posts link to your landing page? Are you listening with Google Alerts or a social media tool? And lastly, explore using Hootsuite or similar to automate your social media posts. As always, a group of resources here. We've got 2 on LinkedIn, 2 on Facebook, 1 on Social Proof, 1 on Hootsuite, and then I threw in kind of a bonus, tie it all together one, and that's the bottom one, the 101 tips. So let me talk about the LinkedIn for a minute. Wayne Breitbarth, who blogs at his website, powerformula.net, is an awesome guru of LinkedIn. I've co-led seminars with him. I've worked with him a lot. There's nothing he doesn't know about LinkedIn. The guy's current on everything. It's amazing to me. He's not a financial advisor, so you can't ask him financial advisor stuff. But if you want to know anything about how to use LinkedIn to generate more leads, Wayne's your guy. Go to powerformula.net. Obviously, I put one link there, but you could pick almost anything that he's blogged about in the last 7 years he's been blogging, and it's all good. And if you think buying his book is worthwhile, I will tell you that it is. You can go ahead and buy his book too. Also, I wanted to point out using social proof to positively influence potential customers. Really interesting article. They get into some of the science of social proof and how wording things differently can make a difference. Okay. Social media, Hootsuite. How financial advisors use Hootsuite, pretty straightforward. And then Jeff Bullis. So Jeff is a small business writer and blogger and coach and et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. And a lot of what he says applies to the financial industry. Not everything, but a lot of it does. And this is an ebook I gave you the link to. So in this ebook, he goes over 101 tips and tactics that generally will grow your website traffic or grow your landing page traffic if you're pointing everything to your landing page. Really worth the read. It's pretty fast. You can pick out the items that you like and skip the rest. I really like it. Useful ebook. It's about 20 pages or so. I mean, after all, I had to get the 100 tips in there and explain each one of them. So that's Jeff Bullis. Hootsuite, again, I'm not going to give you a link to it. I'm not reselling Hootsuite. I just recommend it. The professional version, which is the version you'd want, is $228 a year. It's paid annually. Sorry about that. You can't pay $19 a month. It's $228 a year. Outstanding tool. You can call Hootsuite on the phone, yes, through a U.S. company, and say, hey, how do I use this for my financial business? And they will tell you. And they've got articles about it. They've got blogs about it, etc. Okay. Coming up next week, marketing in real time when you don't have time. We're all busy. Too busy, probably. So how do we make all this work? How do we set it up so it's repeatable? So you don't have to slave through this week after week after week. And where can you go for help? There are times when you might want some outside help. Where can you go? So we're going to cover all that next week, marketing in real time when you don't have any time. And let's see. Lacking any further questions, let me just double check that that's true. Yes. Lacking any further questions? That's it for today. Have an outstanding weekend. And we'll talk next Thursday at 1:30 p.m. Pacific time. Thanks. Bye-bye.